Hi all, Ashley here. Hope you're doing well. Today I'm sharing a video that I actually recorded early last year, showing how to make this super pretty and fun shaker mini album. I never posted it because I wasn't really posting much last year, but I wanted to share it now. So I just wanted to come on though and do a quick introduction because a lot of the materials here are clear, so some of the video is kind of hard to see what I'm working with. So just wanted to kind of give some background. So the cover is a 1-page protector and 1 sheet of acetate. So you'll want to pull that out if you're going to follow along with me here. So just any 8.5 by 11 page protector will do. And then the acetate, you know, the thickest piece of acetate you have, or well, I guess not too extreme, but like a good, decent thickness for acetate is better than the super flimsy ones. The whole point is to add a little bit of weight to your cover, so it has a little nicer feel than just it being only a page protector and being super wobbly. So mine is, as you can see, like it's still pretty flexible. It doesn't like stand stiff when I hold it up, but it'll help give your book a little bit more shape. So you'll want those 2 things, and then you'll need 2 binder rings that are 1-inch binder rings. You're going to need a load of sequins. I use circle dies, so if you have a circle die that's a 3-inch circle die, then that's great, but you could use square die if you have it, or just cut out square pieces, that works too. The other thing is, for the actual making of the shaker pockets, I use my fuse tool. So if you have a fuse tool, you want to pull that out. If you don't have a fuse tool, then you'll need to stitch around these pockets to make sure the sequins kind of stay in place and to give your book a little bit more shape. So yeah, that's I think the materials introduction, and then I'll just share the measurements really quick if you want to screenshot. Here are the measurements, and I'll be talking through all of them in the video. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so your first step is to cut your page protector to 6.5 inches by 11 inches. Obviously, you'll want to cut out the spot that has the holes for the binder rings. So yeah, you'll have that as your cover pocket, 6.5 by 11 for the page protector. And then you'll take your acetate, and we're going to cut a few different pieces that are going to stick into the page protector. So we'll need 2 pieces that are 5 3/4 inch by 4.5 inch. And that's what I'm cutting out now. This will make the book cover and the book back, or the 2 bookends. And then your spine is 5 3/4 inch by 1.5 inch. So here you see me kind of starting to tuck all of that into that page protector. It's a little tricky to see again because everything is clear, but I'm just making sure all the pieces fit snug into the page protector and starting to form my book. So I've got the book cover and then the spine, and I just need 1 more acetate piece. Again, cutting 5 3/4. by 4.5. Okay, and then next is the fuse tool part. So you'll want to make sure your tool is heated. Don't worry that this next section looks a little smaller in measurement. I re-recorded this part just to make sure it was all in frame and I was going a little slower. So what you'll want to do is on your pocket, on your page protector pocket, you'll have two sides that are already fused shut because of the page protector itself, and then you'll have two sides that are open. So we need to keep that top open section, we need to keep that open because we still need to add our sequins mix. So we're just going to create pockets everywhere else. So what I mean by that is you're going to take your first acetate piece, one of the larger ones, so something other than your spine, and stick that in there. And then stick that in there, by the way, like all the way up to the edge, like I have it here. And then get out a metal ruler or the metal thing that comes with your fuse tool. And give yourself a little bit of room, like a tiny amount, 1/16 of an inch. A tiny amount of room between your acetate and your page protector, and that's where you're going to run your fuse tool in a straight line slowly, making sure your fuse tool only hits your page protector so it binds your page protector shut and you get a pocket. You don't want the fuse tool to hit your acetate and melt it. So that's how you make your pocket. And we're just going to keep going. So then next we need our spine. Again, giving ourselves a little bit of room, like 1/16 of an inch, and laying down the ruler or your metal guide, and then running your fuse tool in a straight line on the pocket page, slightly away from your acetate. So then that's your second pocket. And then now for your last pocket, we will just close this up here. So add in your last acetate piece. Should be pretty aligned with the end of your page protector at this point. So right at the edge for you. And then we'll just want to close this up at the end. Same process. Use your metal guide, get your fuse tool and slowly run it across the page protector. If you do it slowly with a little bit of force, then it should be closed up pretty good. But you can also turn your page, your pages like around and run the fuse tool again on the back side if you want. I just did mine on the front and that worked for me. Okay, once you have your 3 pockets, now it's time to start building up your sequins mix. Feel free to be pretty generous with the amount of sequins that you pull out too, by the way. I used a kind of pinky purple color scheme and then used a bunch of flat and flower shaped sequins, some more hot pink sequins here. But yeah, I'm going to take some time to just play around with this. I didn't really measure exactly like how much sequins I used, but I made a pretty decent sized batch. Here I'm using my scoring tool to mix these up a little bit. You can choose to use a lot more sequins than I did in my book, but I think it's kind of nice to allow for some room for the sequins to move around a bit. And then also, because all the pages are acetate, we're kind of playing a little bit with transparency here. So it's nice to be able to see through the cover, through the book. I think I'm going to go grab a spoon here. Yep, so here's my sequins mix. And I'm going to go ahead and start filling in our 3 pockets. So the front cover, and then the spine, and then the back. I get all my sequins, by the way, pretty much all now from AliExpress. And I will, there's not like one specific store on AliExpress that I always get them from either. I just kind of search for sequins, and then whatever catches my eye is what I go with. So just for this front, you can see I've used several spoonfuls. I pulled out that green flower because I really wanted it to be pretty pink. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the spine. The spine is a little bit trickier because the pocket is so narrow, so just take your time. Oh, by the way, I should have said we're putting the sequins between the front of the page protector and the acetate. I guess it doesn't really matter if any sequins fall behind the acetate and the second, like the back of your page protector, but I'm just trying to keep everything up at the front. And careful not to overfill your spine, because this one we still need to punch holes for the binder rings, so it's okay if you go pretty heavy on the sequins for the front and back cover, but your spine you want to make sure is not like overstuffed. Okay, last pocket. It's looking so pretty. Okay, and then now we're going to close up our 3 pockets. This was before I had a heat mat, so I'm just using a piece of chipboard. to protect my desk. And then same process as before, we're going to pull out our fuse tool, line up our metal to the edge of the acetate piece, but really making sure the fuse tool is only hitting the page protector and not the acetate. I don't think the acetate will handle the heat well. So you just want to make sure you're closing up your page protector and forming your pocket. Nice and slowly, we'll roll the fuse tool along the edge. Line it up again and then go all the way to the edge of the page protector. So the full top of your album should now be sealed shut. Look how fun this looks. I love it. It's so pretty. And I don't have a video for how I added in the binder rings, but I basically just used my hole punch crocodile tool and added eyelets. And the depth is 1 inch from the top of the book and 1 inch from the bottom of the book. And there's a 1 inch gap in between the two holes, so that way your 1 inch binder ring will fit nicely. And yeah, that's pretty much it for adding in those rings. And then I added in some of the scrap papers from the acetate sheets that we had used for the cover, and then I made a few extra pages for our inserts on the book. And then I made some die cut circles to decorate the book. So for the acetate pieces, you can see there are various. You can see here there are various widths. They're all 5 3/4 inch high, but some of them are a bit shorter width, like this piece right here. Just for some interest and to have a little bit of a variety. And I just used my hole punch again to punch out holes in the acetate so that it'll line up with the binder rings. And those holes are 3 1/4 inch from the top and the bottom of the acetate sheet. And then I'm going to center this first circle. The first circle or square you can really kind of put wherever, but I'm just going to put it in the middle of the page. And then every piece after that, if you want it to continue to be, if you want it to have like the same look of it being kind of transparent around everything other than the circles, then you'll want to line up all the other circles exactly behind this first piece. So the first one I'm just setting down like this. And I'm just using double-sided tape here. And then I'm going to back that first circle with another piece of pattern paper to hide that tape. You can also just die cut photos, circle photos or square photos if you want to, and skip the pattern paper piece of it. But what I end up doing is these back pieces I end up pretty heavily embellishing. So I can add chipboard and stickers and whatnot to these back pieces. So here I'm making sure my two acetate pieces are lined up evenly, and then I removed the tape and adhered down the circle right behind the first one. So when the two pages lay on top of each other, the two circles will overlap. And I continue that process for all the pieces going forward. And I'm going to speed up the rest of this decorating process, but yeah, just basically rinse and repeat for a lot of this. I guess I should also mention that in terms of the products that I'm using here, so this pattern paper is Maggie Holmes. I think all of these are round trip papers. And the circle die that I'm using is from Pink Fresh Studio, and it gives that like really pretty edge. And when I'm kind of putting together the circles here, I'm just making sure that the patterns kind of vary a little bit so we don't have the same, because I've cut out the same, I've used the same pattern paper for multiple circles, so I just want to make sure I've got different pattern papers next to each other, and then I also kind of mix and match the different shapes of the pages. So you got some like narrow widths and some of the longer widths pages side by side. Again, just for fun. If you want to make all of your pages the same size, totally fine to do that. The round trip collection has so many like really pretty floral papers. That pink floral is super beautiful, but I think that one is from the Joann's pack. So that's not from the normal 12 by 12 pack. That's from the kind of, I think it's like the project pad is what they call it, that Joann sells, where the pages are a little bit different. And I actually prefer their page of this pink floral because the florals are a lot bigger and the background is pink. So yeah, I think the main difference is that the florals are much bigger, and I think that's pretty. So wrapping up the decorating process here, and then we will have a final flip through. And here is the final flip through one more time. I just love how this project came out. I think it's actually pretty relatively easy of a book to put together, and especially for how cute it looks in the end. And yeah, so I hope you were able to follow along with this tutorial and had fun playing along with some transparency and sequins and shaker goodness today. If so, I hope you'll like and subscribe and leave a comment down below and tag me on any posts or any projects that you make. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.